Hi. This week I'm calling it Let Flying Take Place. The most difficult thing, and I've said this before, the most difficult thing is to see ourselves, especially when we come into the world with gifts that we cannot see, that somewhere down the line is going to come home to roost that you did not see it. And then it begins to reclaim that, and to reclaim it is to fly. So I'm going to show patterns of what showed up this week because I feel it's the clearest I can actually show you in terms of what really showed up. So the first pattern is, here we are, and the tendency to look at the past, look at the future, look at the past, look at the future, look at the past, look at the future, and always having a sense of something epic and bigger is on the way, and feeling that sense of that next that's yet to go to. And what showed up was it was kind of a journey, and it came to like a half point of half being there. And it was the addiction of this place. You know, it's like living in a permanent casino stock exchange, waiting for something to come about, and the addiction of that, whether it's the next car, whether it's sex, whether it's money, whatever it is, there is something that is there to look forward to in the future that becomes a driver of sorts. And when bliss, when this unification with source and all that is, and the bliss was offered, it said, no, I don't want that. Because if I have that, it'll become normal. I mean, think of that. Flying as normal. If I fly every day, I might lose the thrill of flying. It was like the addiction is more fun than actually standing in the full connection to source and the bliss of the presence of that lives in the now. So a lot of the sessions were to do with understanding we're actually here all the time. Flying is offered all the time. And to stand in that and to affirm it and to see it. It spoke it in terms of when that becomes the now, when that is the now. There is this being in that presence, in that state, that many elements of that energy draws and brings into being the unknown that is more exciting than any addiction. So that was an underlying pattern to virtually all the sessions. It just expressed itself in a different way. So another way to speak of that with the sessions that were there were when we are born with a certain aspect. Some people are born successful. It's just success and because success doesn't necessarily mean fame. It means having the ability to do something very well. and to be really good at it, or to have a way of seeing the world where you can see it clearly, not necessarily be disturbed by it, be able to see it so that you can be in the presence of that with your flying. And in this particular case, instead of past and future, it really was born with this success, but wondering whether it is good or whether it is bad. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, that's the same as past and future, past and future. So this good and bad became something to explore, because when our childhood doesn't affirm that, because for whatever reason, you then start to want to see it through other people's eyes to affirm that you are good. And that can also bring about a sense of, I'm good. In fact, I can see that I'm better than the others. Why aren't the others behaving in the same way as I am? Or why aren't they on the ball? And then this annoyance comes into the world. So to then be able to recognize that you are good and to feel your own satisfaction of what that is by seeing it, not necessarily have to have it reflected by outside. And I have found myself that when I wanted it to be seen, it was kind of uncomfortable. But when I didn't care anymore because I was comfortable and I knew myself that it was good, strangely enough, that's when things got recognized. Which is interesting because it gets recognized when you don't care anymore. It's beautiful. It's kind of perfect because by that time you are flying and it doesn't matter. So some of these patterns can take a very, very long time before you can see them. Yeah? And there were a couple of sessions this week that really mirrored each other, interestingly enough, and also that they're a couple. So it was particularly interesting in that regard. So, you know, when we are born with something that is quite exceptional as a skill, but then because we can't see we have it, we can't even begin because we can't see it, even though it's there. And it can feel like the journey to it is like climbing one of the most difficult mountains. Who wants to climb that mountain? And then over time to finally see that you're there. And all of a sudden, it just shows itself and it comes out and flying takes place. Interesting thing with her partner, we can turn it upside down to some extent, and this was very interesting because I can remember when I saw her many years ago, and I knew she was in relationship with this guy. It was like, wow, who is this? He had the capacity to just make things nothing, and all the mental dialogue going on. He stood beside and allowed it to be and had it as okay. And what we found was that he was born with the capacity to make it nothing. And for years, it reminds me of the tarot card of the Fool, that you just every day is wonderful, and whatever happens, it's okay. You deal with it, you just stay pleasant, you get on with your stuff. And that lasted for a very long time, but he did not see it came from his capacity to make it nothing. So somewhere along the line, this mountain showed up that felt impossible to climb because he didn't see where it came from. So now it shows that to again claim that part of his capacity to make it nothing, but make it an active process that the mind can see. Because when he was born and he made it nothing, well, the mind had nothing to mind. So it wasn't engaged to be able to see it. So in seeing it, now it can be a daily activity of reclaiming, because when you can make things nothing, you are flying. It doesn't matter what is before you. Flying is happening. That sense of feeling that connection to source is so clear that all is okay and nothing matters. It's, then you walk around obstacles, or you jump over obstacles, or you climb over them, whatever it is that gets done. And that's flying taking place. So another pattern, and this, I knew that I was going to do this session, and during the week it was like, oh my God, what will show up? How will this be done? Because it was like a mountain was in front of me, and to work out how did this mountain get so big, and what can you do, what will show up for this mountain, and will it in fact make any difference at all or not? What's going on here? Because I know the history of this over the last, say, 30 years. And all of a sudden it's like this session. And right from the beginning of the session, this being felt like they were being choked, absolutely being choked. And the energy was on the right side of the shoulder, almost like part of his aspect of spirit wanting to reveal something or show something or indicate something. And it was indicating that it really, when you see it, the choking will go away. And what showed up, this is not showed up before, but it's what showed up, and I'll share it with you because some of you may also relate to what this is. But again, it had the same theme of standing in the unity of all the oneness that is. The presence of now, the bliss of now, the normality of now that you fly with. So what showed up was not that you can contain source, but let's say that represents source. And he was standing here, and at some point he came through. He came through, and here we are, planet Earth, and so upset that he was kicked out. He felt kicked out. And in the being kicked out, it created a perception of separation. When it's a gift of separation, so you can be in the world to have your own personal experience through which all becomes expanded. It wasn't seen that way. So in seeing that it wasn't a kicked out process, but a gift to avail yourself to, and in unity of that, perceive the bliss of the gift of that. And this was interesting because towards the end of the session, the energy came up and he said, but I'm connected to a much larger source that I feel a connection to. So for him, there's this whole depth of exploration in that, what is it and who are we that we are here? But when we see it in that connection to source, maybe there's something we can see, enjoy, feel at one with, and be part of that exploration. So there were, interestingly enough, 2 patterns that were in the waiting mode for what we drew initially. It's like if we're here and we kind of know this is going to happen, but it's like, oh my God, I can't bear the waiting. So what happened, both of them these 2 were eating a lot, and they couldn't understand why they were eating and actually couldn't stop eating. They loved the eating when they knew they didn't need the eating, but eating was taking place. And why that was happening is because this was so present and the waiting was there, they couldn't bear it. So they ate a lot to turn their brain off. If you eat a lot, your brain doesn't work as well because the digestion is taking all the energy into the digestion. Like when I've digested it, you can have your brain back. So that was an interesting pattern. But for one in particular, we knew it was there. But the process of being in this space to even look at that had lots of activities before this present now here. And in many ways had projected herself into a capacity of being in the world that had placed herself here now. And instead of thinking she could repeat that and repeat that and repeat that with this looking into the future, wanting it and desiring it, and it had to be of a particular caliber, etc., etc. What really showed up is if you have a close look at all of this, you are in fact already flying. And with the flying of who you are taking place, and you're now flying, all that is yet to come is just going to be a wonderful exploration of flying. So how do we manage all of this stuff? And how do we deal with those who are not flying, who cannot see that the flying is taking place? So during the week, a woman came who is in a position now in her relationship with her partner that the love is just overflowing in their family. They are excited every day to go out to see what else can be brought into being and can be in, and they're both in that flavor. And the child who's with them is enjoying this aspect of this family that is living that way. But another child who's been away for a while actually decided that he wanted to see his mum, but not the partner. And what had happened is the projection of what his own father was as a dominating energy was placed onto the partner. And the partner may have some of those behaviors, but it comes with so much concern and love that that's not seen. So Mum got triggered by the son being triggered and came to see what the heck is going on, because the flying wasn't in the household. What's disturbed this? I'm not feeling myself anymore. And it was about having a dialogue with the Son to express the overflowing of this love that is his home as well. And that when he's ready, he is always welcome there. And that's for him to find out what is normal for him and to work out what is normal for him and to give him space to work out what that is rather than disturb the flying that is taking place. It takes a lot of love, it takes a lot of trust, and that way we keep flowing while others who may not be in that place or see it in that way or be so full of love themselves that they feel now they can dictate. Love is unconditional, and it does mean you can stay with what it is you are unconditionally and allow other people to make their choices unconditionally. And then it will show up what that is for each, and each can fly their own way. The card that was pulled was love. Open yourself to more of it. Love yourself. You are lovable and you are worth loving. Love is all around. You know, that bliss, that connection to all that is there all the time and normal. Flying is normal. Love is all around you always, whether you feel it or not. Your choice. As soon as you let go of the conditions you have placed on love, you open yourself to love from a new direction. It's the letting go. Unconditional love may feel different to what you have allowed before. Now, there was an essence, the Gamia Lily, that also showed up for this, and it's got so many nuances to it. It's a plant that is 7 meters high, and being so high, the flowers are not clearly seen from the ground. So this remedy is for excessive pride. I think when we feel we can put conditions on others, when we judge others, there's an arrogance in it. And it helps bring about the humility. This essence is for reaching up to the energy of arrogance and transforming it to achieve greater heights. It gives strength to those who are ahead of their peers and helps them to stay at the top. Gamia Lily is also very beneficial for people whose personalities are very intense or extrovert, or those who are dominating, demanding, and very charismatic, who usually get their way. It is also for people who like to be seen and noticed and who seek glamour and status. And this is all that addiction pattern. And when you see yourself and it's normal, flying takes place. And one does not care who sees it. There was a quote, God doesn't care who does the flying as long as flying takes place.